Is the worry that the Saudis and other OPEC members have got the optics on this very, very wrong? Because coming into this conference, I'd already heard a lot of blowback from Washington about the potential for these 2 million barrel per day cuts. And, the surprise, even from Democrats and Republicans, that the Saudis would push it this far. They see this as a political move, not one of market stabilization.
I think, Hadley, what you described, a couple of things are really key. One, it's really about 1 million barrel a day, and it doesn't go into effect in November. And I think that basically it was the R word, recession, that they have been focusing on. They've been listening to the U.S. Central Bank and others. However, as you point out, the interpretation here in Washington is quite different. This is seen as, first of all, a blow against Biden, who came to Saudi Arabia. Secondly, is seen as somehow political, interfering in the U.S. election, although the cut doesn't go into effect till next November. And until November. And the third thing, of course, is the other R word, Russia, that this is seen as bolstering Russian revenues. So the response here is pretty strong against this, seen it not in economic terms, but more in political terms.
Absolutely. And I think that that's something that perhaps these gentlemen were not really factoring in. Certainly that was my first question at the press conference. How do you explain this when folks say that this is political, that it's an act of aggression against the West? And His Royal Highness' response there, as you heard a little earlier in the program, was, how is this even belligerent? But as you say, the politics of this and the optics of this not necessarily going to play well for the organization as a whole. When you think about this with regards to the numbers, though, how does this work out in your mind over the next several months?
Well, it's 1 million barrels a day, and we've seen it. I think they were worried that the oil would go below $80, so this probably keeps it in the $85 to $100 range and so forth. But the other thing that's very important, Hadley, is just a few hours before, the EU basically bought into the price caps on Russian oil. So this is also about dealing with that, and of course that's what the Russians really want to prevent from happening. And the Russians have signaled in this case and other cases that they are going to do everything they can to frustrate a price cap on oil. So as you're saying, there's a whole lot of politics around this that goes beyond whether we have a recession and when the recession starts and kind of preemptively acting on that. This is very much also in a political context.